Now let's talk about private villas. I have a love-hate relationship with them because while they're beautiful, there's a lot that could go wrong. I love to rent a private villa when I'm on vacation, but this would be the last place I'd bring a group personally. When I say private villa, you could think like an Airbnb. And while these homes are often beautiful and luxurious, they're missing many of the things that the first two options have. Now, it would be an ideal option for someone looking for complete privacy, but let's talk about all the things you'll be missing and have to take care of on your own. With a villa, you'll have to hire a chef or take care of all of the cooking on your own. Now, I've had an experience with both. If you're thinking about doing the cooking on your own, just don't. However much work you think it will be, it's 2 or 3 times that. You'll spend all day prepping, cooking, and cleaning and won't have any time for anything else. I taught yoga at a small 12-person retreat in Sedona once with 4 leaders cooking, and it was completely draining and exhausting. We spent the whole day in the kitchen, and it was one of the least enjoyable experiences I've ever had. And a little side note on chefs is that in my experience with hiring a chef, there are A, lots of costs that go into it, and B, you only get one meal to choose from during mealtime. Even if they're keeping in mind dietary restrictions, you'll only get what they serve. I was teaching at a retreat in Scotland, and while the chef was incredible and had lots of help with her, people were upset that they didn't have a say in what they ate. Some of them ended up going to the store in town to get frozen pizza and meals so that they could just microwave it in their rooms. I mean, could you imagine that? If the retreat organizer had picked a place with a restaurant, people could have had a choice in what they ate. That being said, though, you might find that hiring a chef is the best option, and you'll want to look very carefully at your contract and make sure that each and every expense, including their transportation, lodging, taxes, prep time, and food costs, is on there. Whatever you do, though, make sure you have a contract. I have actually heard a lot of horror stories about people receiving a bill from the caterer that was far beyond what they expected because there was no contract and they didn't advise of each and every cost. Do not do a verbal agreement. Also, another thing, chefs can cancel. It happens all the time, so you need to keep this in mind and make sure that you can count on who you're hiring. Deposits for villas can vary significantly, with some requiring only 10%, while others might require more than half of the cost up front. This can be pricey for large villas. Also, remember when dealing with private owners, they can cancel. Instances of Airbnb hosts backing out last minute are definitely not unheard of. This can throw your plans into disarray, forcing you to either scramble for a replacement or cancel your retreat. Personally, I've experienced this exact thing on a group vacation in Costa Rica, but thank God it wasn't a retreat. On top of not having restaurants, there's no housekeeping, meaning the place can get dirty quickly. There's less rooms, meaning people who don't know each other might have to room together, or even worse, share a bed together. This actually happened to me once. Having people who don't know each other room together isn't the worst thing in the world, but sometimes people don't get along, and that is an issue, especially if there's not more space for them to move into a room on their own. Villas won't help you with shuttle service or transport you to and from the airport, and they don't help with setting up excursions. Can you see why a private villa might be more challenging? Again, in some instances, it makes sense, but there's a whole lot logistically that you don't want to be responsible for. And it A, takes away from you being fully present as a host, and B, has way more moving parts that could go wrong. We want the most amount of things to go right during retreat. And this is why I highly suggest looking at a full-service retreat center or a boutique hotel.